Our attention is being pulled in 1,000 directions, usually towards all the evil and harm being done in the world, and that can leave us feeling anxious and overwhelmed. But what if looking for the good is actually the key, showing us where we can help and giving us the strength to keep fighting? Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Saffron, and last year I took classes to become a permaculture designer. And in this series, I'm sharing what I've learned and I'm putting into practice here at Eudaimonia Farm. Permaculture is a design system for cultivating a better future, guided by 3 ethics: earth care, people care, and fair share, and 12 principles. Today's episode is the first principle: observe and interact. Make sure to subscribe and watch the full series to be part of the discussion of how we can cultivate the good life together. First, observe. This is the first rule in permaculture garden design, but it is easily a good rule for all facets of life. Observing how your body feels before answering a question, observing your whole life from a place of awareness. I waited a year before putting up a fence for my garden so that I could watch how the sun, the wind, the water all moved across the landscape. I wanted to know what animals would visit, and what trees would cast shadows, and what plants would grow themselves before I came in and made drastic changes. Other aspects to observe when you're talking about a garden are slopes and microclimates, and zones and sectors, all of which should be the foundation of a permaculture garden design. I'll go over how to make a permaculture zone and sector map for your land in a future video, once we get through all the basics of permaculture principle theory. So stay tuned for that if you want to learn how to make a permaculture garden design for yourself. In our lives, we can also benefit from taking a moment to observe ourselves by asking, what are you most drawn to? What do you feel gives you purpose? What disturbs you most? Observe yourself and your inner landscape through meditation or simply noticing how your gut feels from moment to moment. When you observe content that tells you that we're all cooked, do you feel energy to change things or simply despair and paralysis? What we look at changes us, and I feel watching doomerism content is manifesting a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you hear all is lost, why bother fighting? This reminds me of the OK Go song, All Is Not Lost, which I will link in the description below. Which brings me to observing society and the main point of the video. Look for the helpers. Looking for the helpers and paying attention to the good happening in the world does not mean ignoring the harm and only trying to see the good. Just the opposite. It is seeing things for what they really are. The world is full of evil and the world is full of good. Just because one of those statements is more frightening does not make it more true. Right now, while bombs are falling, there are people feeding the hungry. There are data centers being built and trees being planted. There are people leaving hate comments and others reaching out to talk with those in need. If anything, what I see is that in the average person, good wins out most days. Doesn't that give you a sense of hope, of purpose? There is still good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. This also reminds me of a Vlogbrothers video that I will also link in the description. A part of which was turned into a zine for one of their projects for Awesome, and I'd like to read it to you. I've been feeling a little stuck recently. I look around me and see things that have done harm, but I am also surrounded by things that I love. I don't know what the right way to see these things is. We are surrounded by harm, and by aid, and by joy, and by sorrow. Nothing gets done if there is no room for joy. Nothing gets done if we only see the harm. Nothing gets done if we don't see the harm. I don't know which thing to see more. I don't know if I'm seeing the right amount of joy or harm or aid, but I know that I have to see both. The horror, then the beauty, then the grief, then the joy. That doesn't seem to be helping me get anything done. So maybe there's a way to look at the world and see both at the same time. So I'd like to challenge you today to look for the helpers in our fight for a good future. To help with this, think about these 3 main categories of help and feel in your gut what you are most drawn to. Let's call this the ABCs of helpers. A is for activist. Activists are politically active in physical and obvious ways, manifesting in the streets, being arrested for protesting, going door to door to get signatures, etc. There are definitely groups around you that will be very happy to have you help with their activist endeavors. One beautiful example of this has been the No Kings protests in the US and around the world. Check out their website and similar groups and find a chapter near you. See how they are organizing and working daily behind the scenes to create change. B is for builder. Builders are doing work that can support activists changing the future as well as create real physical change in the present. This looks like mutual aid groups that are feeding the hungry, housing the unhoused, healing the sick. This could also look like groups that are supporting those caught up in evil systems, like those that show up to give blankets and help to the immigrants let out of detainment camps in the middle of the night in the freezing cold. It can also look like creating community gardens to give more resilience to your neighbors so that they can have the bandwidth to participate fully in their helper roles. After all, it is much easier to think clearly and organize well with a full belly. C is for communicator. Communicators are trying to shift consciousness through political systems, education, and propaganda. These people may be academics studying how to better the world, scientists telling us what we need to do to mitigate climate change, people in politics who are trying to wake those of us who are still asleep and show us how we can have a better world, and also people spreading awareness online, or even spreading counter-propaganda and educational videos to help inform and open the minds of the working class and explain concepts and show what steps are needed to be taken, including what has worked before. These people show us what needs to be done. As you go through these, observe what you feel drawn to. What makes you angry? What makes you sad? What brings you hope? This is your gut telling you what your path is. As individuals, we can do a lot, but we can't do it all. And thankfully, we don't have to. Just start by picking the first thing that caught your attention and go towards it. And now, it's time for the second part of the principle. Interact. Interacting in a garden can mean doing small experiments like testing the soil. Is it clay, sandy, or loam? As well as the pH and the minerals of your water. Test temperatures in different areas. How much cooler is it in the shade versus the sun? And where are these hot and cool spots? Take photos of your garden throughout the seasons and identify what plants bloom at what times, what plants are insects attracted to, look for the helper plants and insects in your garden. An interesting book about an experiment in forest observation is The Forest Unseen by David George Haskell. I'll link this book in the description as well. In our lives, we can interact with the emotions and thoughts we observed coming up in the first part of this principle by asking ourselves, what small steps can we take towards our vision of a better future today? To help with this, journaling can be a powerful tool and a way to interact with your mind and gut. In society, we can ask questions with an open heart, actually trying to understand. Observing how the media wants us to fight each other, it can be eye-opening to interact and see that at our core, how similar we are, even with those we may normally deem our enemy. Our neighbors have more in common with us than those who seek to divide us. And in interacting from a place of awareness, observing how emotions and sensations may come up without reacting, we can see that ultimately we are all acting out of a place of fear. Some of our fears may be unfounded, while others are profoundly real, but understanding that the person filled with hate is just like a scared child, it makes it easier to ask questions in a friendly tone that may even get them to come to certain realizations on their own. When you observe that there is a small group of people oppressing and dividing the other 99% of people, interacting and even befriending your neighbor, the stranger, is a powerfully radical act. So take time to observe today. Look for the helpers, look for the good, look for the ways in which we are actually making progress. Observe what you are drawn to and how this makes you feel, and how hope and resilience grow within you. And then, interact. We all have a part to play in cultivating the good life together. Let's share with each other in the comments below. Who are some helpers you've observed recently, either in your own life or in society? I'll share my list in the description and the pinned comment, along with some songs and books I feel are related to this principle. If you'd like to see more from me, I also have some meditation videos and other content linked in my bio. Thank you so much for watching and liking and subscribing. You're helping this channel grow, which helps to get these messages out to more cool people like you who want a better world. Thanks again for being here with me. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.